By the age of 19, Elliot Rodger was the most red-pilled man on Earth. After years of exhaustive and frustrating research, he came to the conclusion that women only care about two things: wealth and power. He understood that personality means nothing. Women didn't dislike him because he was narcissistic and poured hot coffee all over them. They disliked him because he wasn't a millionaire. But that was about to change thanks to a little-known invention called the lottery. Elliot knew it was his destiny to win the lottery, become a millionaire, and then win the heart of a beautiful blonde girl by flaunting his wealth. And he knew he would fulfill his fate thanks to a book called The Secret. The Secret is a book that retarded people read to convince themselves that their wildest dreams can come true if they just believe hard enough. So, Elliot spent days visualizing himself winning the lottery, bought a handful of Mega Millions lottery tickets, and then lost. My faith was soon broken, as I bought a few Mega Millions lottery tickets and visualized myself being the winner. I usually visualized it by meditating on the rooftop of my mother's apartment right at the time of the drawing. A part of me knew it was impossible to will the universe to make me the winner just by wishing for it on a rooftop, but I was so desperate that I wanted to believe I could. I wanted to believe I had the power to do it. After failing to win when the jackpot reset because someone else won, I lost all faith in that book, and I almost ripped it apart in frustration. So, Elliot learned his lesson that the lottery wasn't the answer to his problems. Right? Look at the timestamp of the video! We're not even fucking close to the end yet! In the wake of his devastating lottery defeat, Elliot began researching other methods of becoming a millionaire at a young age. He contemplated a variety of get-rich-quick schemes, but almost immediately gave up on all of them when he realized they would require effort. For the next week or so, I spent time meditating in my room, trying to come up with ways to get rich. I could either invent something, start a great business idea, or go back to my original idea I had of writing an epic fantasy story that could be made into a movie. That reminded me of the reason why I gave up on that idea in the first place: the amount of time it would take to achieve success from such a prospect. I was so desperate, and I needed to do something right there and then. It was a matter of life and death. If I couldn't make it, then I had nothing to live for. Elliot then noticed that the new Mega Millions jackpot had reached a staggering $200 million. Luckily, Elliot had thousands of dollars saved away after years of allowance, birthday, and Christmas money, and he was prepared to spend it on lottery tickets as long as he kept $5,000 in the bank as emergency retribution money. So, he spent $100 on tickets, but didn't win. Then, the jackpot hit $290 million, so he spent $400 on tickets, and he didn't win again. Then, the jackpot reached $363 million, so he spent $500 on tickets, and he won the jackpot! He took the lump sum grand prize of $195 million, met a beautiful blonde debutante at a yacht club meeting, got married, started a family, and lived a long, happy life. Oh wait, no, sorry, I misread that. There's a typo in my script. It actually says he lost. And then the jackpot reached a number that I never imagined it would: $656 million. I was astounded and filled with a feverish enthusiasm of hope and desire. This was the highest lottery jackpot in history. I knew I was always destined for great things. This must be it. I was destined to be the winner of the highest lottery jackpot in existence. I knew right then and there that this jackpot was meant for me. Who else deserved such a victory? I had been through so much rejection, suffering, and injustice in my life, and this was to be my salvation. With my whole body filled with feverish hope, I spent $700 on lottery tickets for this drawing. As I spent this money, I imagined all the amazing sex I would have with a beautiful model girlfriend I would have once I became a man of wealth. On the day of the lottery drawing, Elliot was so nervous that he couldn't bear to look at his tickets to see if he'd won. He spent the next 3 full days sitting alone in his bedroom trying to work up the courage to check his tickets. Then, much like how Jesus remained dead in a cave for 3 days and emerged on the 4th, After 3 full days of waiting in anxious anticipation, Elliot checked his tickets. On the 4th day, I decided to just go through with it. The result was already decided, and the amount of time it took me to check it wouldn't change anything. I had to see the truth. My heart was beating rapidly as I loaded up the webpage to the Mega Millions website. What I saw crushed all of my hope completely. My whole body shivered with horrific agony. I didn't win. 3 people won that jackpot, and it was split between them. But none of those 3 people were me. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was certain I would be the winner. It was destiny, fate. But no. The world continued to give me no justice or salvation whatsoever. After failing to win the largest lottery jackpot in history, Elliot fell into the deepest depression of his life. He spent the next month isolated in his bedroom like never before, only coming out to use the bathroom or to get food. His mother and sister even made the 2-hour drive to come visit him, but he refused to come out and see them. On that last lottery draw, Elliot bet a lot more than just money. He bet his hopes, dreams, happiness, and future. And when he lost the drawing, he lost everything. A few months later, Elliot came across a book by Joseph Murphy called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Just like The Secret, this is a book that is used to trick retarded people into thinking they can make their dreams come true just by focusing hard enough. After being inspired by this book, Elliot decides he'll try to win the lottery again once the jackpot rises over $100 million. I spent the whole month meditating in my room or roaming around the park, visualizing the final outcome of my victory. Through the power of the law of attraction, which I had studied so intensely with the new book I found, I felt certain that I would become the winner. I looked forward to it with profound eagerness. One would think that Elliot would just cut out the middleman altogether and use his newfound power of attraction to just, I don't know, attract women rather than a lottery victory, but something tells me Elliot might not be the most logical thinker. As the summer came to an end, the lottery jackpot finally rose to $120 million. On September 11th, Elliot bought a $5 ticket and proclaimed it to be the winner, and then experienced his own personal 9/11 when the ticket lost. Somehow, the expert advice he had received from Joseph Murphy's totally legitimate and definitely not bullshit book had failed. This was very unsettling. I didn't win. I looked at my ticket over and over again, and then at the winning numbers. No match. It was just like what happened in March, except this was worse because I had built up anticipation for the entire summer. The winner was some guy from Riverside. He took my money. What a waste. What an injustice. I was so certain that the universe would finally grant me salvation after a life of torture and suffering. I then looked at my small, cramped room and realized that my lonely, depressing life of virginity will continue on mercilessly. But Elliot wasn't going to let this most recent defeat keep him down. Once again, he meditated on his bed, and using the power of his subconscious mind, he was able to calm down and think rationally about the situation. Nah, I'm just kidding. He got wasted and trashed his apartment. That night, I threw a wild tantrum, screaming and crying for hours on end. I had the whole apartment to myself, so there was no one there to hear me. I raged at the entire world, thrashing at my bed with my wooden practice sword and slashing at the air with my pocket knife. I even downed an entire bottle of wine, and got so drunk that I spilled my wine all over my laptop, permanently destroying it. I soaked my pillow with tears as I drifted off to sleep in my lonely bed. After destroying his laptop in a fit of drunken rage, Elliot sobered up about his possibilities of winning the Mega Millions jackpot. It frustrated him to no end to see the jackpot reset again and again. But then in November, everything changed. Late one night, Elliot became aware of a different kind of lottery called the Powerball. And according to the Powerball website, the current jackpot was over $500 million. Elliot knew he had to win this jackpot, but there were 2 problems. 1, the Powerball lottery was currently unavailable in California, and 2, the $500 million drawing was taking place the next day. So, what did Elliot do? He didn't meditate in his room or create a dream board. He took action. It was midnight when I had this revelation, and the drawing was on the following day. The only way I could get a ticket before the drawing was if I left for Arizona right then and there. And so that is exactly what I did. I quickly looked up the best route on Google Maps, packed some food into my backpack, and took off. It was the drive of a lifetime. A non-stop 6-hour sleepless drive through the California desert in the middle of the night in pursuit of his ultimate destiny. This was the most emotional and impactful drive of Elliot's life, and he knew with all his heart that his fate hung in the balance. The sun rose as I crossed the long stretch of desert in between Palm Springs and the border of Arizona. It was one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen. When I saw the sun creeping up before me in the horizon, igniting the clouds with its orange glow, I proclaimed that sunrise as the sunrise of my destiny. I was riding towards my destiny to obtain the record-breaking Powerball ticket of $500 million. As I drove, I thought about every event in my life that led up to that journey. I considered that journey as the ultimate culmination of the tragic suffering and sexual starvation I had to go through for so long. That Powerball jackpot was meant for me. Once I won it, I'd be able to have my beautiful blonde girlfriend. I'd be able to show the world that girls consider me worthy. I'd be able to show the world how superior I am. And of course, I would be able to live above everyone who has wronged me, and rub it in their faces as a form of gratifying vengeance. That was my ultimate purpose in life, my reason for living. I probably don't have to tell you what happened next. Much like with everything else in Elliot Rodger's life, his experience with the lottery was painfully repetitious, and time again, he refused to learn a lesson. There was an Arizona winner, and I had bought my ticket in Arizona. After that long, emotional journey, driving toward the sunrise in the middle of the desert, fighting off sleep just to get there in time, visualizing my whole future before me, with a beautiful blonde girlfriend and the children I would have with her. After all that, who else could the winner be but me? It was meant for me. It was fate, destiny. I took out my tickets, of which I had purchased 50, and sifted through them to find the one that matched the winning numbers. I felt dizzy and ecstatic as I did it, feeling so certain that my victory will be confirmed. When I reached the end of my stack of tickets, I didn't find any that matched. For the first few moments, I couldn't even believe what was happening. I looked through all of my tickets again and again and again, and still, nothing. I didn't win. I sat very quiet and still in my desk chair for a long time. All of the emotion swept out of me. I didn't react with rage or anguish. I just sat there, cold and dead, mentally trying to contemplate what I had just done. I had driven all the way to Arizona just to buy lottery tickets, because I was so desperate for a happy life in which girls would be attracted to me. I was so certain I would win, building up all that hope, only to have it shattered right before me at just that moment. The very next day, Elliot went to a gun shop called Goleta Gun & Supply and purchased the Glock 34 semi-automatic pistol that he used on the day of retribution. He wasn't dead set on getting retribution yet, but he was now making preparations just in case. And believe it or not, over the course of the next few months, Elliot drove to Arizona 3 more times to buy Powerball lottery tickets. Even with a gun in his hand and retribution in his heart, Elliot refused to give up hope on living the life he felt he deserved. But unfortunately, he kept putting all his eggs into an impossible basket. Elliot Rodger invested hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars into trying to win the lottery so that he could use his wealth to find a girlfriend. I can't help but think if he would have invested that same amount of time and that same amount of money into bettering himself, overcoming his shyness, developing genuine social skills, perhaps he could have gotten a girlfriend without relying on luck. Or perhaps, much like how it was his destiny to lose in the lottery time and time again, maybe the day of retribution was his unavoidable destiny as well.